Jose from stampingdough.com, and today I'm going to show you how to do this card here with this fun background. So I've been playing around with a lot of backgrounds and using our watercolor paper. So let me show you how to do it. I started out with our watercolor paper. It actually comes in a package like this. They're 5x7 sheets and they are beautiful to watercolor with. It comes with 10 in the package, 10 sheets. And what I find helps make it go a little further is to just cut them in half. So they're 7 inches long. And so if you just cut it 3.5, then you're gonna get 2 sheets, really making yourself 20 card fronts. So I just started with half of this. And now the first step really is to put water on your paper. So I like to use my, used to be called an aqua painter, now it's a water painter. And they come in a pack of 3. This is our largest one. And this is the one I used for this particular background. You can fill the barrel with water. I just find that sometimes I like to use just a little container of water so that I can have a little bit more control. Now, if you're gonna fill the water in the barrel here, one of the tricks, which I didn't know about at the beginning, is you have to open it the opposite way to what feels right. Okay, so just open it, put your water in, and then close it back up. And at first I was trying to figure out if something was going wrong or if I just couldn't figure out how to open it. But really you're opening it the opposite way to what you normally open something. Okay, so we're going to grab some of this water. Now I don't want my water to cover everything. I just kind of want it to cover the middle, like this. And then I'm going to take one of my stamping blocks with my old olive ink pad, which is the color that I used on this card. And what I like to do is I just like to take one of these, put some color on it, and then take my water painter and just add some water here. And you're kind of creating yourself just a palette of color. And depending on how dark or how light you want it, you can add a little bit more water or a little bit more color. So just going around. I don't want my colors to be perfect. I really do want it to have multiple colors of old olive in there. So you can swipe, you can tap, you can do whatever. I think it probably needs a little bit more water. And the fun thing about these creative backgrounds is really there's no right and wrong. You're just trying to play until you like what you see. All right, so I do want some multiple colors. In between the layers on here, I actually took my heat tool to heat a little bit, and then I actually went back with a bit more color because it wasn't quite looking like I wanted it. So this one's actually turning out not too bad. I like how it's there. A little bit more water to spread it out. All right, so once it gets to here, you can let it air dry, or you can use that heat tool to make it go faster. So I'm just gonna use my heat tool and I'll be right back. The other thing that you can do to get this wet is use our Stampin' Mister. And these come in packs of 2 or 3, I can't remember now. And they're really great little misters. So you can actually just add your color on, or your water on there, and then go back and add some more of that old olive. And kind of the wetter that you get it, the kind of the more relaxed your edges look, if that's a good description. All right, it's getting there. I've just dried it one more time. It's not looking exactly like I want it, so I'm just going to keep adding a bit more layers of that color. Adding a bit more water around my edges, and then you can pick up that color. you just kind of keep going until you like what you see, which is kind of fun. Okay, I think my edges are looking a little better. I'm gonna dry that one more time and then I will show you the next step. All right, it's starting to look a little bit more of that multicolor look that I'm looking for. And I want some darker areas, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more color onto my block and just bring that in, add a tiny bit more water. And then I'm just going to add some little spots of dark color. Now there's millions of different ways to do fun backgrounds. This is just one of them. I like to be messy sometimes and just play. So we can add a bit more water in there just so that it has some softer edges. And add more color. I find this card is pretty easy. Making the background is the hardest part, only because it takes a little bit of time, but it's super simple. And when you're doing it, I think there's kind of a part of us that wants to be like this perfect. And the good thing about this background is you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep playing until you get something that you like. And once you put it all together, regardless of whether you like how it looks right now, it's gonna look beautiful. So don't worry too much about getting it to the point where you're like, oh, this is wow. Because I find once you put the trees on it and the greeting, it looks really cool. All right, so I think I've pounced that enough. I am going to dry it one more time and then get on to the next step. I'm really happy how this is turning out so far. So this is about what? I think 3 or 4 layers that we've done, and I love how it has the different shades of the green. So now I'm gonna go on to the next step. I've added a little bit more color to my block, and I want this one to be a little bit darker than what we had before. Now you can use whatever you want, but I'm just grabbing my little barrel here, and we're just going to tap against it, and you can have this really fun darker spots. You can add, if you want to kind of spread them out a little bit more, you can add a bit of this water again. As you can tell, I'm running out of water, but just give it a little bit of a spritz. You can move it back and forth. You can actually take your water brush again, water painter, and just tap if you want, or leave them just as dark as you want them to be. But I love that darker splatter on top. It just looked so fun. Okay, so the last thing I did to this background, and it's hard to see on the camera, but I'm going to show you anyhow, is I'm using some of our champagne mist. And for this, it's a really nice shimmer color. I just happened to grab one of my scoring tools, but you can use even a toothpick if you wanted, or not a toothpick, a toothpick. Just something to pick up that color. So I actually just took the biggest barrel of my thing and just added some splatters here and there just to give it a little bit more shimmer. And it looked really cool. I thought it was a really nice final step. Okay, hopefully you can see some of that. No perfection in this background. All right, can you see that? Look how cool that looks. All right, so this is a great canvas for the next step. So what I used for the trees is the In the Woods framelits, and they have 2 different kind of lined trees in there, and they look very similar, but they have a slightly different shape. So you can see that. Okay, I just used some Whisper White cardstock, cut them out, and then what I did, I'm just going to take this away, hold on, to show you that next. So what I did is I took my cutout tree, I had one around here somewhere, sorry about that. Okay, so I took out my cutout tree, I took my Wink of Stella, which I like to use on almost every card, and added some of that glimmer right onto my tree. It just kind of adds that little extra sparkle on there, and it looked really, really pretty in real life. All right, so you can see, just show you here. So there it is with the Wink and Stella. Hopefully you can see that. And there it is without. So it's just a flat white versus this really beautiful sparkly trees that you put on. So hopefully you can see that on the card. So I just did 2 of one shape and then 1 of the other. Now for the Thinking of You, what I did for that is I took the Thinking of You stamp set that has the season at the end. I took some washi tape. I'd show you on the stamp, but I cannot find it right now. It's somewhere in my mess, but I'm gonna pretend this is the stamp. So I took the stamp, I put some washi tape on it, I inked it up with my old olive ink pad, and then once I was done, I just took that off and stamped it on some scrap paper, and then I used the punch to punch it out so it only had Thinking of You. So it's a good set that you can use for, you know, you could use summer trees, fall trees, Christmas trees, and this greeting looks like it might be limiting, but the Thinking of You goes everywhere, so you can use that for any type of card. So I hope you enjoyed this technique. I'll show you some more creative backgrounds soon, and have a great day. Bye.